and I want you to tell me where they are, okay, for Smarties. So there will be a couple things I'll do. I'm going to try to point out some of the things that I've seen that are mistakes. And so when you know what it is, let me know, okay? But how would we start this? How would we start number one? It looks like a monster fraction. Let's make it easier. Yeah, we're going to change it to a division problem. And then division means we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's just rewrite it. 4b squared, frozen, over 9a squared. And instead of looking at it like this intimidating huge fraction, let's just make it into something that we've already worked with. Haven't we already done problems like that? Instead of division, we're going to make it multiplication, and then what do we have to do to the second one? Flip it. Okay. And then go ahead and simplify. So what we've just done is a section 3 problem, and now we're back to section 2, which was the beginning of the unit, which was reduce fractions. Change the division to multiplication, flip the second fraction, and then we're multiplying.
I feel like you did your B's wrong.
Yeah, tell me.
You got rid of the bottom B without getting rid of one on the top, so it would be 4B.
Yeah, and I noticed that sometimes we'll do that when we have a lot of like variables that are the same. We'll disregard one, so you just want to be really careful. If you multiply across, sometimes that helps so that you don't forget it. So instead of b to the 5th, what should it be? B to the 4th. The rest look okay? B to the 4th over 6a squared? Okay. So for whatever reason, that's one mistake that I'm seeing is sometimes we'll just disregard, and sometimes it's a number instead. I think on the quiz it was a y, like number 11, some people forgot to bring the y over, so just be careful, okay? So what we'll do, let's take the notes on the section and then we'll come back, and that's basically what we're going to do. Now they will build just slightly, and we'll have to get common denominators, but the whole idea is that we are just going to make these things division problems, which are then multiplication problems, okay? And it becomes something old instead of making these seem like they're so difficult. All right, so let's go back, and on 15, let's write down what a complex fraction is. So a complex fraction is simply an expression, an algebraic expression. Why we call it an expression is it doesn't have an equal sign, that contains one or more rational expressions in the numerator and or the denominator. So those fractions or rational expressions can occur in the numerator and or the denominator. A much quicker way of saying this is fraction and a fraction. Okay? If you have a fraction and a fraction, it's called a complex fraction. So these are some examples. You can have 3 over z over 5 over z. You can have 4 over 5 over z. Maybe you just have a fraction in the denominator. Okay? when we have a fraction, we normally have a primary numerator and a primary denominator. And the division bar, or the fraction bar in the middle, is that primary division, the primary sign, the primary fraction bar, and it means division. Now there are two different ways that I could teach you. I'm just going to stick with one, so we're not even going to write down anything for method 1. I'd rather just stick with what you know. So I'm going to break these down into a section 6 problem, which required skills from sections 5 and 4, and then to a section 3 problem and a section 2 problem. So these complex fractions will have everything from this chapter except negative exponents, okay? So it'll help review all that. Now, this is not the only way to do these, okay? But I'm just going to stick with something that we know. The other way is to get an LCD from all the denominators, and sometimes we struggle with getting LCDs, so I'd rather just do one at a time. So we're going to find LCD of the primary numerator and then the LCD of the primary denominator. And then once we find the LCD, we add or subtract and simplify. And then we change the problem. Instead of that huge complex fraction, we just switch it to a division problem. Which then becomes a multiplication problem. And then we can simplify and get our answer. And I think in terms of grades, I have something for everyone. Chloe, you're coming in to take, when do you need a pass for that?
I can jump in
Whenever you're ready, you let me know and I'll
Okay.
pass. Do you have a plan? Let's kind of get some dates down. You have it's 2 parts.
like Thursday and Friday.
Sure. Okay. Thursday and Friday, both 9th?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me write about another one. Okay, any questions? We all right there? So let's go back to example 2 and let's try to do those steps. So go back in example 2. And if I can find that. Okay, what do we want to do in that primary numerator? Get the LCD. What is the LCD in that primary numerator? X squared. Okay, and that would be March, let's see, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Are we getting 2x minus 3 over x squared? over 5x plus 1 over x. Any problems with my work?
Don't you get for the LCD at the bottom?
Yep.
No, the LCD is green.
Yeah, did find the LCD on the bottom, so we're good there. But what would someone reading my work question? This I've seen several times, so we want to make sure you understand what it is.
On like the top, where the original problem is, you just have the whole problem equal to 2x minus 2 over x squared, so there's no denominator there.
Yeah, and so if I'm saying that's equal, that's not true, is it? This is not equal to that. And then what's that? I just decided to do the denominator by itself. And then miraculously, I bring it back in. What happens algebraically is we think this is equal to this, and then when you write stuff this way, equals this equals this. Is that true? It is called a linking error. So if you've seen that on your paper and you're wondering, like, what is that? We're not linking them correctly. So Smarties for you. Okay. So what I need to do to clean that up, if I'm going to say this is truly equal, I better put this here. And I probably, when I get to pre-calc, don't need to do this step separately. I can probably just handle doing that all as one and then write it as a division. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the division becomes multiplication. Okay, so that becomes a section 3 problem, and now we're down to a section 2 problem where we have to simplify or multiply and simplify. Anything cancel? The x's, one of the x's, right? And we'll get 2x minus 3 over x times 5x plus 1. A common mistake for whatever reason is once we cancel out that x squared, we sometimes forget to slide it into the answer. Did you get it? Okay. So I want you to start the next one the same way. So I want you to find the LCD of the numerator. You're just basically doing a section 6 problem in the top and a section 6 problem in the bottom. Can I just cancel those ones out? No, why? What's holding that one, those ones with the other stuff? Parentheses. So just be careful. Our eyes kind of go to that and think we can do it, but we can't. So LCD of the primary numerator is just y. Primary denominator is y squared. These problems can get lengthy, so I'm going to show you something that can help you shorten it, but if you make mistakes, then don't shorten it. But I just kind of do the work right here so that I can just slide over what that answer would be when I add it together. Did you get that? Now instead of looking at it that way, we're going to turn it and make it a division problem. Minus 4. And then make it a multiplication problem and do what to the second fraction? Flip it. Okay, so then I'm going to get y plus 2 over negative 4y. Did you get that? Tell me why not. I can't cancel these out because they're not factors. You can only cancel things out that are common factors. So did you see that error? Did you, when I crossed those out, did you go, what is she doing? Because you should have, okay? So we can't cancel out anything unless they are common factors. So guess what we have to do? Factor, right? And then when you factor, can we cancel out the y plus 2's? Okay. Can we cancel out one of the y's? And we'll get y over y minus 2? Can I simplify that any further? No. So that's one of the mistakes that I've seen is our i's see 1's or y's and we want to cancel them out, but we have to make sure we only do that if they're common factors. Okay? So let's try the next one. Tell me what the LCD is in the numerator. X times x plus 3. And I'm going to show you a way to make these just slightly less writing. And again, if this kind of makes you mess up, then don't skip it. But I just come over into the original fraction, and I know I'm multiplying the first one by x over x, and the second one by x plus 3 over x plus 3. Now, in order to not get a linking error, I now need to work on the denominator, because I'm saying this is equal. What's the LCD in the denominator? Is it the
X
same?
times x plus 3.
Yeah, x times x plus 3. Good. So did you get 3x plus 3 over x times x plus 3? Divided by x plus 6 over x times x plus 3? Talk to me, tell me. Did you get that?
Why would it be x plus 6?
Why would it be x plus 6? Someone tell us. He got Smarties already. So someone else, he's kind of giving you the major hint. I see this a ton. There's a subtraction, so what do I have to do? Yeah, so see this minus 2 quantity x plus 3? It's minus 2x minus 6. Did you get x minus 6 instead of x plus 6? If the answer is yes, then you did it right, okay? Any questions there? So I'm trying to show you some of the errors that I've been seeing, and hopefully by pointing them out a little bit, me making them and you seeing them, you don't make them. Okay, now what do we have to do? Change it to multiplication with that second one. And what do we have to do to 3x plus 3? Take out a 3. Kids go, no way. Yes, how could you check to see that? And I've seen that a ton. And I think sometimes our brain is working on the more difficult part of the problem. So we're just kind of gliding through the stuff that we think, that we know. And we make mistakes. How could I have checked that and said that is not correct? Just redistribute, okay? Any questions? Okay, so now let's cancel out common factors and get our final answer. Okay, so just some mistakes that I've seen on that 8283 quiz that we want to clean up. Okay, you go ahead and do the last one, and then we'll check to see if you have it, all right? So give you a practice one just like what we did. And I'll put up the work so you can check to see if you're getting it. Did you get 3x squared plus 4x plus 4 over 3x quantity x plus 1? And then on the bottom, x squared minus 3x minus 3 over x times x plus 1. You can see I skipped a couple steps. Just be careful if you're skipping them. The x plus 1 canceled. How do I know this doesn't factor further? Look at what I did on the side. I'm looking for a factor pair of 12, right? So I listed them all. Do any of them add to 4? No, so it doesn't factor. Any questions? So is that too bad? Like, is that they look pretty awful, but they're actually not too bad. So we're going to give you some problems that will start in class on this, and they start really easy and build up. And then we don't do, I think, the end ones until tomorrow, just to make sure that you have the process down. We'll review tomorrow and Thursday, and then our test will be on Friday. Okay. So let's go to your pink packet, and let's first look at that review set that you were doing, pages 15 and 16. This was a really good practice quiz or practice test. The only thing it didn't have on there were, who's it from? It's not signed.
Mr. Curry.
Okay, all right, just so you know. It's Mr. Curry.
Tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, so what numbers did you need? So 15 and 16 pink packet. You had the odds to do, right? Up to 27, I believe. I didn't give any presentations, did I? Okay. Give some for tomorrow. Oh, did I? Yes, okay. 25 and 27? Okay. Does anyone have a question prior to that? Let's go over other ones. We'll see 25 and 27, but what other numbers do you need? These are all really good sample test questions. Yeah.
Could you do 19?
Sure. Yep. So 19 was a division problem. Now, do you notice that 19 could have been written like one of the complex fractions we saw today? And then, but it wasn't. So it was just a multiplication problem. So 15x cubed over 4y squared divided by means times the reciprocal. This one, you just have to be really careful of what cancels out, because there were, the 15 and the 5 canceled, and I got 3 on the top. 4 goes into 8 twice. I have a 6 on the top. X cubed over x squared will be x on the top, and then y over y squared will be a y on the bottom. What else? What other odds do you need? Yeah, good. Number 13. Yeah, this negative exponent one. And I did it slightly different than what we did it in class. So let me show you, if you in class, in the original, did you flip it first? Make the outside exponent positive? Did you do that? Okay. So I'll do it that way as well. The way I have it on here is I simplified first. It doesn't really matter, but we kind of were sticking with doing this way, so I wanted to just show you how we did it. So I would flip the entire fraction and then make the outside exponent positive, and then I would reduce. This x to the negative 1 is going to go to the bottom. This y to the negative 4 will go to the top. Then when I square everything, 3 squared is 9. Y to the 6 squared is y to the 12th. So one of the mistakes we made on the last quiz was we added instead of multiplied, so be careful. And then 2x cubed squared would be 4x to the 6th. Other questions? Anything other than 25 and 27? Okay, so that was really a good review. It's kind of a practice test. We're going to do another one tomorrow, so you should be really set for Friday. So let's do 25 and 27. These just required a good bit of factoring. So 25 is first. And then we'll take some presentations for tomorrow as well. I'll let you know if if you want, how many you have, or if you need one.
Okay, so 25, the original problem is 15x plus 3 over 50x squared minus 20x plus 2, and then minus 4 over 75x squared minus 3. So the first thing I did was I factored both the denominators to find LCD, which came out to be 6 times 5x minus 1 squared times 5x plus 1. And then I multiplied the numerators by what they needed to be to get an equivalent fraction. So the first fraction would be 5x plus 1 over 5x plus 1, and the second one would be 5x minus 1 over 5x minus 1. And once you do that, you get 225x squared plus 90x plus 9 over the LCD minus 40x minus 8 over the LCD. And then once you simplify that, you're left with 225x squared plus 40x plus 17 over 6 times 5x minus 1 squared, 5x.
Okay, so
That's a little bit.
25x squared plus, and the final answer
My
then
bad.
is, I think I got plus 50x. Oh yeah, so this will be 50x, the 90 minus 40, your work looks good. This will just be a 50 instead.
I put a 40 in.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yep, no, you did all the hard stuff right. See, it's our brains, we're doing the hard stuff, and then we can like subtract wrong, and that's common. Okay, very nice. I'm gonna put it up just so you can see it all in one thing, but look great. Yeah, that one was kind of a longer one, so if you were doing it in the packet, you kind of had to make it fit. So just in case you had a question, it's all in one spot. He factored that first denominator, factor the second denominator. Then once you get it factored, you have to get the LCD between 2 and 3 was 6, the different bases, the 5x minus 1 is raised to the second. This one looks difficult, doesn't it? But it's not any different, it's not a different process, same process. Get the LCD, distribute, multiply. This one just had some algebra in it where you had to multiply and add and combine like terms. Any questions? And as these get longer, remember these solutions are online because if you get one factoring wrong, you want to fix it before you try to do too much with it. Any questions? Okay, Amina's up with 27.
Okay, so you start by factoring the bottoms of both fractions, and you get 5x plus 1, 2x plus 7, and then 2x plus 7, 5x minus 1. So the LCD is 2x plus 7, 5x plus 1, 5x minus 1. And then when you multiply the first fraction by 5x minus 1 to make it equivalent, and then you multiply the second one by 5x plus 1 to make the second one equivalent, and then you get 25x squared minus 10x minus 1 over 2x plus 7, 5x plus 1, 5x minus 1, plus 55x squared plus 21x plus 2 over 2x plus 7, 5x plus 1, 5x minus 1, and then your answer is 80x squared plus 11x plus 1 over 2x plus 7, 5x plus 1, 5x minus 1.
Good, yep. So here is the factor, so she just factored those denominators. And once you got the LCD, she had to multiply this 5x minus 1 by a 5x minus 1. And this one, the 11x plus 2, she multiplied by 5x plus 1. Now this was our factoring, so then we're coming over here to get the answer. Questions on that one? Were those last two kind of tricky? Okay. Process exactly the same, just bigger numbers and more work. Okay, very nice, thank you. All right, so for tonight, we're going to go to page 13 in your pink packet. You need your notebook, okay? So wherever you do your work in your notebook, we're going to look at the top of page 13, and we're going to try a couple of these together before I set you loose with too many of them. We do need a couple presentations for tomorrow. So 28, 30, and 32. So Chloe and Hope, you guys get first chance, and then from there it's Billy, Andrew, Kira, Brenna. Okay, those people have one. So then if I didn't call you, you're either absent or you have 2 or 3. Okay. So takers for number 28. All right, Hope, thank you. Number 30, Chloe, and 32, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. So let's start and see if we can get somewhere with these. They start us off pretty easy. Okay, so the first problem, number 2, you're going to write this in your homework, wherever you do your homework. It's 3/5 divided by 3/4. Isn't that nice? 2 and 4 have no variables, okay? Now, where are the answers to these? So I've had some people asking, like, where are the answers? I'm like, oh my. I always give you answers somewhere, right? So the top of page 13, if you just flip to the back, the final answers are there for the evens that you're doing tonight. Full solutions on Blackboard, okay? So did you write that first one as a division problem, which changes to multiplication? I've had some questions. Can I skip that step that's showing division? You can. Just be careful, okay, if you skip it. If you're making mistakes, don't